Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host, Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. This week we're going to be talking about boiler maintenance, and we'd like to thank Aaron Jones for liking and sharing the podcast. We'd also like to thank Mike Luoma for mentioning our podcast on his podcast. It's called Glow in the Dark Radio, and you can check it out on your favorite podcast app. He reads his science fiction books on his podcast. Mm-hmm. And if you're listening to this on January 24th, 2021, you can still get a free download of our 13th ebook on Amazon. It's called Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, Book 13.
Yay.
This week we spoke to Gary from Easy Snap Covers. Some of the first steam boilers for heating were developed in the late 1700s in England. In the early 1800s, the U.S. started installing steam heating systems in buildings, including the White House and the Capitol building. Hot water heating became popular in the early 1900s, and both of these early systems used large freestanding radiators. We've gotten a couple emails from homeowners who've moved into a new home and they have a boiler for their heating, and they wanted to know if there's some maintenance routines they should have. If you've moved into a home and it has a boiler, you could have a hot water boiler that uses a pump to move water through the pipes to radiators, and that's what's heating your rooms. Or you could have a boiler and an older steam system. That steam is moving through the pipes to radiators, and that's what's heating your rooms.
Have you ever had a steam boiler?
Yeah, I had one property that had a one-pipe steam system. And with the one-pipe steam systems, all of the radiators, so these were the big freestanding radiators, really cool, old-fashioned looking. And the one-pipe systems, they have air vents on them. As the steam rises through the pipes, it's pushing out the cold air, and you can hear it coming through that little air vent. And when the actual hot steam hits that air vent, it raises up a float, and it stops the air from leaving. And now that steam gets stuck in the radiator, and it warms it up. When your thermostat goes off and the steam starts to cool, then that water just drains back through the pipe, back to your boiler.
Cool.
Which is pretty interesting. So a tip, if you have an old steam system, is you should be replacing those air vents routinely, because we had tenants in that property over the years, and every once in a while they'd call me and say, hey, or actually that was back when I had a pager, but they would page me and say, hey, we've got a problem with, water spewing out of this air vent, and so when those air vents fail, sometimes it allows steam and moisture and water to spit out of that. So you should be replacing those air vents routinely. If you have a two-pipe system, you've got your steam coming up to your radiators and then a pipe leaving it. In that case, you wouldn't have an air vent on the radiator.
Okay.
They also have adjustable air vents. If you have a problem with some radiators getting hotter than others, you can actually adjust how much air or how quickly the air passes out of that radiator. So you can slow down the amount of air coming out of one and allow it to come out faster in another part of the house, so that radiator will heat up first and kind of equalize the temperature in different rooms. So an adjustable air vent is good if you're having a problem with zone control for your heating.
Okay.
I also had a building with hot water baseboard heat, and almost every year the coupling would break that connected the motor to the pump. There's a metal piece that's connected to the motor and a metal piece connected to the pump, and these two metal pieces are connected with two springs, and those springs would break almost every year. And so the first couple of years I would have my heating guy come out and replace it, so I watched him, and then I learned very quickly it's good to have a backup coupling if you have this type of system. If you've purchased a home and the previous owner didn't have a maintenance routine or have a heating company come out routinely to check the system, you could have a buildup of sludge from mineral deposits, rust, and sludge.
Is that the technical term?
Yes. and debris throughout your system, especially like in some of the properties we had in the Chicago area, we had galvanized pipe, which gets rusty debris that can get into your system, and it can shorten the life of your boiler and reduce its efficiency. All of the manuals I read from boiler companies recommend having the boiler inspected at least annually by a qualified service technician, and the warranties I read won't cover damage or malfunction due to the lack of required maintenance, and they outline exactly what the maintenance should be in your operating manual.
Okay.
Take a look at your manual or download one for your model and read what maintenance the manufacturer expects you to do. The manuals I read recommend the boiler is inspected and started at the beginning of the heating season by a professional. And you should keep all receipts and paperwork for what the service technician did for boilers under warranty, and make sure they follow the recommendations for the procedures in the manual, and that way you're covered for your warranty.
Okay.
One manual, for example, said at the beginning of the season at startup, a service technician should check the boiler area, check air openings, check the flue gas vent system, the pilot and main burner flames, piping, the boiler heating surfaces, the burners, and the base, check the glass gauge if it's a steam boiler, the temperature sensor, perform a startup per the manual, check the base insulation and fastener clips, check the gas piping, the boiler water line, the limit controls and cutoffs, the boiler relief valve, and then review the results with the owner.
So you should probably have like a checklist for them.
Absolutely. If you're hiring a company and you're getting a contract, which you should have all of these things in your manual that's required for your warranty, because different models require different things, and these new high-efficiency boilers have a completely different system than the older units.
And just because you hired a professional doesn't mean they're going to know everything.
Right, or they might have a routine that they do, but that's not what the manufacturer of your boiler wants done.
Right.
In the boiler manuals I looked at, they also had a list of maintenance the owner should be doing. Daily, they're recommending check the boiler area, check air openings, check boiler pressure and the temperature gauge. Monthly, you should...
Oh, wait, that was all daily?
Daily.
How do you get anything else done?
Monthly, check the boiler interior piping, the venting system, the air vents, check the boiler relief valve, check the pilot and the main burner flames. Periodically, test the low water cutoff, and at the end of the season, follow their shutdown procedure. And you're going to have different procedures and different elements based on the type of boiler you have.
Okay.
In one manual, it said common household and hobby products often contain fluorine or chlorine compounds. When these chemicals pass through the boiler, they can form strong acids in the vent system or the boiler, and the acids can eat through the vent or boiler wall, causing serious damage or presenting a possible threat of flue gas spillage into the building. They're saying you shouldn't have chemicals like this anywhere near your boiler. Chlorine-based swimming pool chemicals, calcium chloride used for melting ice, sodium chloride used for water softening, paint or varnish removers, hydrochloric acid or muriatic acid, cements and glues, fabric softeners used for clothes dryers. That's weird, huh? Chlorine-type bleaches, detergents, and cleaning solvents, and adhesives used to fasten building products and other similar products. They can actually form acids that can put holes in your flue, which can allow carbon monoxide into your home, which could potentially be deadly. Some systems require draining the boiler and checking the pH of the water. Some of the new high-efficiency boilers will have a condensate drain or a pump that has to be inspected. Some have air intake screens and flue discharge screens that need to be checked and cleaned. One manual I read said the blower motor has to be oiled with a few drops of oil every 6 months. Do not use standard household universal oil. Only use a specific oil that they recommended for their model. Some have automatic venting systems to bleed air from the system, and this has to be checked monthly.
Okay.
The National Fire Protection Association says about 15% of home fires every year are from your home's heating equipment. They recommend keeping anything flammable at least 3 feet from your furnace or boiler. Keep children away from a furnace or boiler at all times. Have smoke detectors on every level of your home and test them once a month. Install carbon monoxide detectors on every level of your home and test them routinely. And have your furnace or boiler inspected yearly by a qualified contractor.
Okay.
I spoke to Bloomfield Cooling, Heating, and Electric. Bloomfield is Bloomfield. They're a family-owned company in northern New Jersey, and they're an Angie's List Super Service Award winner. They say if you're hiring a company to inspect your steam or hot water boiler, some of the things that they should be doing is checking the safety valve, the pressure level gauge, the water gauge, the automatic feeder, the pressure control, and the low water cutoff control. They should clean or replace the glass gauge if you have one. Check and clean filters, inspect and adjust the burner, clean or replace vents, inspect the gas line, the heat exchanger, the chimney, and the flue, and you're checking that for blockages or leaks. Check the air valves and tighten all fittings. Bloomfield recommends adding the 80 MagnaClean filter to hot water baseboard heat systems, especially for older systems, to help extend the life of the boiler. 80 is ADEY. MagnaClean is MAGNA, capital CLEAN. This is a magnetic filter that removes magnetite from the water.
What is magnetite?
It's very small black iron oxide particles that are formed in your heating system. It's called black sludge when too much builds up, and you're going to have other particles in there too. And this can build up over time in radiators, pipes, or in your boiler's heat exchanger, reducing water flow and heating efficiency. This MagnaClean filter has a very strong magnetic rod, which is covered with a removable cover. The magnetite and other metal debris gets trapped on the cover. You remove the magnet routinely. You take the magnet out of the cover, and it cleans off very easily.
Okay.
It's an interesting way to help keep your system clean. And if you're in the New Jersey area, you can check out Bloomfield Cooling at bloomfieldcooling.com.
Cool.
When you're shopping for an HVAC company, see if they have certifications from organizations like ACCA and NATE. ACCA is the Air Conditioning Contractors of America. NATE is North American Technician Excellence, and this is additional training that they've gone through.
Okay.
You can contact your boiler manufacturer and see if they have contractors that they recommend in your area who are trained on your boiler and have up-to-date training. The EPA says find out the license and insurance requirements in your state or town before you hire an HVAC technician. Get a written proposal of exactly what will be done and what the cost will be.
Mm-hmm.
Get at least 3 quotes, get proof of insurance, and get references, and then call those references. I spoke to Gary about Easy Snap Covers. Gary, how you doing?
Very good. Thank you, JC.
Cindy and I were wondering if we could get a little information about your company. I installed one of your Easy Snap Covers in a bathroom, and it was a pretty easy project to replace it. So I was hoping we could get some more information on your products.
Absolutely, but that's how it got its name. It's easy.
Right. And it was. How long have you been doing this, Gary?
We've been doing it 8 years, since I think 2012.
Okay.
And we've just been growing every year, and people love our product. And to be honest, I love the business. It's just fun because we're solving a problem. It's simple, and people love it.
What's your background? How did you get into this?
Well, I was a finished carpenter, and I had a kitchen and closet shop for quite a while. And then when Home Depot and things changed around 2007 or so, I sold my company, and I was just looking for something to do, and I ended up remodeling some apartments. And the guy said, "Hey, the one thing I want is these heater covers So I went up to the supply store and I said, hey, I need some new faces for these. And the guy laughed and said, these are 40 years old. There's no parts for these. So then I started looking on the internet, and I found some stuff, and then I improved on that product and started making my own. Everybody loves them. There's a pretty good demand for them. It's easy and quick.
What's the material that you're using for your covers?
Well, we use a 20-gauge galvanized and epoxy-coated perforated steel. It's bent to the size we need, and once it's powder-coated, it's pretty much rust-proof. We've got a safe edge design, so it's not rough and hard to put on. You don't want to injure yourself putting it on either.
What is the guarantee that you have on this?
We give you a lifetime guarantee for as long as you live in the house. It's 20-gauge galvanized steel. Then on top of that, we do a baked-on epoxy powder coat. It's pretty darn rust-proof. I test it by making up some salt brine in a bucket, and I'll stick a piece in there and just let it naturally evaporate. It's totally encrusted with salt, and there's really no rusting that's going on. The good thing is we make it right here in the USA, and we make it from recycled material.
And what colors do the covers come in?
Well, we originally started out with white and off-white, and the raw galvanized, which comes in a mill finish, which it looks like stainless steel.
Okay.
We're getting into colors here in the next month or so, and that's going to be a big addition. We're going to have a burnt bronze. We've got a gray. We've got an almond, a mocha. It's pretty exciting. It goes with a lot of different interiors now.
And if someone wanted to replace their baseboard covers, they can either have them custom cut by you or they can cut them themselves?
Yeah, we'll cut to size on our website, easysnapcovers.com. We've got step-by-step instructions where you can actually print off a worksheet, fill in the blanks, and then you can order online. So whatever you want, if you need 33.5, we'll cut a 33.5. If you want to cut it, we'll send you a 3-foot piece and you can cut it. I kind of recommend that if you got some tools and talent. That way you can't really mismeasure.
And with your covers, they're perforated rather than having a vent, so you're going to get better airflow and better heat.
We get a lot of people asking us, well, what about, you don't have the damper and you don't have the convection and all this. Well, they're all steel. And one way or another, it's going to radiate the heat. Exactly. And I've never had anyone say that it either gave me more heat or less heat. If there was a problem, believe me, I would hear about it.
Right. And with the perforation, it's probably easier or safer for kids.
Absolutely. We don't have the opening where the damper is, and the kids can't get their fingers in underneath, really, because the opening's only 3/4 of an inch. The aluminum fins on that fin tube are extremely sharp. It's like 30 razor blades in a row. So right. we want to keep the kids out, and it does that very well.
And if you have a rental unit, you have some that are called Lockdown?
Yeah, we've got our Lockdown product. It's for the commercial and apartment market. Once it's on there, it gets mechanically fastened to the wall, so you can't pull it up, missing parts. That's a thing of the past with this. And we've got a patent pending on the Lockdown. It's mechanically fastened and tamper-proof screws.
And what maintenance is there with your covers?
You clean them off with just normal household cleaners. You can actually take the thing off. It's so easy to do. Take it outside, and we power wash them. Wow. Let them dry off, put them back on. They look brand new.
And if I wanted to learn more about your covers, where would I go?
You just go to our website. That's easysnapcovers.com. And we've got instructions and all the products and everything, how to do it, how to measure, how to order. We've got same-day shipping. We're made in the USA. We support wounded warriors, dogs on deployment, and it updates a room in just minutes. We're the thickest cover out there because we've made our covers to be tenant-tested tough. And every day they're out there doing their job.
All right, well, I appreciate your time, Gary.
All right, I appreciate you having me on.
That was a great interview.
Yeah, I really like the covers. They have a clean, modern look.
So we installed these in my bathroom.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, it's really nice because my cats used to, with the old covers, they'd put their paws in there.
Through the vents.
My kitten, he'd put, toys in there.
Right.
And so, just a mess. This, it's, nice, solid, and they can't mess with it.
Yeah, like the unit I had when I had tenants. Amazing what I found in there when we cleaned them occasionally.
Do you have anything else to add?
If you've moved into a home with a boiler, it's going to be more complex than a forced air system. So get the manual for your boiler and put together a maintenance routine to keep it working well.
Sounds good. Let's wrap this up.
You can subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can download our ebooks, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, books 1 through 13 on Amazon.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow Cindy on Twitter at FixItCohost, and you can follow us on Instagram, Fixit Home Improvement.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.